and welcome to Niaga Spotlight with me, Tehmina Kaoosji. Niaga Spotlight takes us through the week in economic analysis and future affairs. Now today on Future Affairs, our spotlight falls on tech, productivity and food security. So, Malaysia's push to raise the ceiling under Economy Madani is increasingly coming down to one factor alone, productivity. At Forum Economy Malaysia, the FEM, last week, a few realities were emphasized. A food import bill of over 70 billion ringgit a year, climate volatility cutting into domestic yields, and an economy still too concentrated downstream. The challenge now is whether Malaysian companies can move upstream by applying technology, owning intellectual property IP, and also turning innovation into real economic resilience. One company already doing that on the ground is Qarbotech, a Malaysian nanotechnology firm developing crop solutions that improve photosynthesis, plant efficiency, and this is also at a crucial time when climate stress can reduce agricultural yields nationwide by up to 20%. Backed by Khazanah's Dana Impact, its work is beginning to show how productivity gains have the potential to become a strategic advantage. Joining us on Niaga Spotlight live in the studios now is Amirul Merican, co-founder and chief operating officer of Qarbotech, to dig deeper. A very good morning, Amirul. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here. It's really an honor.
Absolutely. Such a pleasure and a delight to have you on to discuss a little bit more about the good work Qarbotech is doing. So, Amirul, let's get started by talking about the fact that Malaysia, even though we have such strong agricultural fundamentals, and I'm sure you could tell us more about that, having traveled the breadth of the country for your work, but we are still a net food importer. So tell us about how actually the idea behind everything which Qarbotech does came around and the interventions that are available now to ensure that we don't continue remaining a net food importer.
Yeah, that is a very important question, Tehmina. So in Malaysia, whenever we go down on the ground, when we speak to these farmers, the farmers will say the same thing again and again.
Right.
Every year, their yield will decline. And for them, most of them, what they do is they would put more chemical fertilizers onto the land.
Right.
And this then would make the land more infertile. And then the cycle repeats. The land becomes infertile and the yield will become less and less over time. So some of them even would leave the agricultural industry because it is inconsistent yield, inconsistent income for them, and they would not continue to do that. And that is why young generations, they don't have the tendency to go into the industry. So at Qarbotech, as mentioned, what we have is a photosynthesis enhancing technology.
Right.
So Dr. Suraya, our chief scientist and founder, patented a technology to derive these carbon quantum dots. So carbon quantum dots is essentially a small fragments of carbon.
Okay.
It is derived from agricultural waste, all the things that you throw out, like empty fruit bunch, rice husk, whatever that you get out.
All the discards.
All the discards. We then turn that into small fragments of carbon, and when this is at a very small scale, it possesses a photoluminescence property. It is able to convert ultraviolet into blue light spectrum. Maybe I'll show you how it looks like.
Yes, please. So this is basically something that you would take out on the ground when you are meeting potential partners, such as farmers and smallholders.
Just to get them an understanding of how it looks like.
All right.
So
run us through it.
The carbon does is it converts the ultraviolet, which is abundant by the sun, and convert it into blue light spectrum that the plants can then utilize and use. So this is ultraviolet torchlight, and this is water. It will just go through.
Okay.
With our technology, it converts it into blue light spectrum.
Ah, there you go. You see the photoluminescence in the second sample.
Blue light spectrum. And what is the importance of this? So with too much UV, it will cause heat stress to the farm, to the plants.
Right. That's when they basically sort of burn, wilt.
Yes. So just like as our skin, we put UV protection so that we don't get skin conditions, skin damage.
Sure.
So with plants, we apply it onto the leaves. The abundance ultraviolet, the unutilized ultraviolet, is then being converted into blue light. So it's an extra energy source for the plant to carry out the process photosynthesis. And photosynthesis is very important. Photosynthesis is how the plants make their food. It's how they convert carbon dioxide, water, turn it into oxygen that we breathe, and carbohydrates for them to grow. So when they grow faster, quicker, more resilient, that then equals to more stable harvest for the farmers, and for us Malaysian, more food on the table. And that is why our work helps this farmer get more food.
Absolutely. So coming from the work which Qarbotech has been doing then, Amirul, let's move into discussing a little more about the next step. So this basically also means farming can be repositioned as more of a high-value, innovation-led industry in Malaysia. Which sectors within agriculture in particular have you seen being the most stressed, especially by climate-related changes in the past few years?
So we just concluded our 2,000 paddy project in Penang.
2,000, okay.
2,000 hectares paddy project in Penang.
Amazing.
So this paddy, again, as mentioned earlier, farmers will complain that their yield will keep on declining.
Year on year.
Year on year, the per hectare would reduce from 4 tons to 3 tons per hectare, reducing to 2 tons even. So this is because of many factors. One of it is climate. Back then, the farmers were able to predict sunny season would be this time of the year, rainy season would be this time of the year. So they then would be able to curate whatever that they plant on whatever weather they think would be for that particular season.
Fair enough. Life was pretty predictable for the farming seasons, yeah.
So the importance of our work, we then bring data for this farmer. We moved away from guesswork. We moved away from farmers guessing, maybe for this time, we do this, we do that, we put this agricultural input. So our technology are able to withstand both the cloudy season as well as the sunny season. So during cloudy weathers, raining season, there are still UV present around the environment. This UV would be converted into the blue light for the plants to still carry out the process photosynthesis. When they still continue to do that, they still continue to grow. And then they are able to then get consistent results. Similarly, during the sunny or drought season, where the direct sunlight is too much, this then would cause heat stress. The heat wave that you see across different states would make the plant not grow, shy away from growing, wilt. But this UV, we convert into a lower energy, which is blue light, for the plants then able to still continue growing without too much exposure to UV. So that is what the technology is doing. So we are moving away from all the guessing from the farmers to more science-driven, more experimental, more collection of data. So just like the 2,000 hectares project that we did in Penang, we work with drone operators. So the drone are able to then spray across our product into the paddy field, and we know exactly the volume used. We do drone mapping, satellite imaging to capture the multispectral images. So what does multispectral images do? It is able to then tell you what happens between the control and treated plot, how much more photosynthesis is happening. We then have a team of agronomists go down on the ground to collect more data. When we collect all this data, when we measure photosynthesis, we are able to then predict better what would happen if a certain conditions happen. So we move away from guesswork to more evidence-based, science-driven, and then that then equals to farmers getting more consistent, higher yield for us all, basically. Because from the farm level, that is where they are producing the food that we all consume. If not, the whole supply would be much less and food prices would soar up higher.
Yes, higher than they already are. Exactly. And specifically what you spoke about, the 2,000 hectare paddy project, Amirul, it really stands out to me because our rice bowl state, Kedah, for example, currently also suffering from an ongoing heat wave. And also in recent years, paddy yields were 40% lower than average, which also causes so many downstream impacts on the farmers themselves. So besides paddy, which other high-value crops does Qarbotech also work with or have an interest in expanding towards?
So we start with paddy because we had a 500 hectares project in Indonesia. So with that data, we then went to Malaysia and said, hey, let's try on paddy since we already have this data. So with other crops, fruiting vegetable, chili, brinjal, cucumber, we are all doing that with a lot of smallholder farmers across Malaysia. Fruits like melons, durian even, we are spraying our photosynthesis on them. We are now moving towards the palm oil industry, but with palm oil industry, they are not applying it onto the leaf. They are not deploying drone, so we need to then have additional operational costs for them. So maybe for palm oil industry, we then target the nursery phase first, or we do experiments of in-soil adoption of our technology.
So very interesting. So there's an opportunity also to scale it around a different vertical.
Yes.
Fascinating. So overall, what kind of resilience are you seeing build across the food system, especially when it comes to the farmers and the smallholders who have already been working with you for a while, Amirul?
Yeah. So just to then go back onto the 2,000 hectares paddy project,
Sure.
what does this mean to the farmers? They were able to see 15 to 30% increase in the yield. So that is an increase from 3 tons to 4 tons per hectare, so an additional a ton per hectare. When that then happens, more income for the farmers, more food for us, and that then trickles up to us having more secure food production in Malaysia. So similarly with crops like melons, what we are seeing, more grade A fruits are being produced with more photosynthesis, enhanced photosynthesis. And interestingly, what we also seeing for melons or even pineapples, they want to have sweeter fruits. So with more photosynthesis, as how we have already know, more carbohydrates are in the plants. So when there are more carbohydrates, the fruit itself becomes sweeter. So then that gives them a level up higher to grade A. For this farmer, it means they are able to sell at a higher price.
Exactly.
More income for them, and that more stable, and we keep these farmers in the agricultural space instead of them saying, hey, I can't predict what is going to happen to what I am planting, I want to leave the space. So now with new technology and ability for them to predict what is going to happen, what kind of income they should be expecting to get after harvesting, they then would be more interested to stay in the agricultural landscape.
Exactly. So more interested to stay in the agricultural landscape, and I must ask you this before we go for a short break. How do farmers find you, or are you the one identifying as Qarbotech which future agricultural partners you want to work with?
Yeah, it's a different way and how we approach these farmers. Back then, we used to do it organically. We go down on the ground, we have a team of agronomists to meet this farmer and then introduce our technology. It's a lot of awareness because it's a new category on its own.
Sure.
We are not selling fertilizer. We are not crop management like
None of the
pesticide.
usual solutions.
None of the usual. We are looking at the leaves. We are making the leaf work better. A lot of the other players are looking at enhancing the soil, making the nutrient better, or killing the pests. But we are making the plant become more efficient. So we need to then go down on the ground, meet these farmers, but now as well, we are using social media, such as TikTok, to get these farmers to see what we have. And having Astro AWANI publicizing what we do, advertising what we do, even showcasing what we have, more farmers would be more aware of the technology that is available here in Malaysia for them to use.
Amirul, thank you so much for the conversation today, and of course, all the best to Qarbotech moving forward for 2026. Well, that's an example of what moving upstream does look like, applying science to real-world problems, creating higher value income, and also building resilience into the economy. My thanks to Amirul Merican, co-founder and Chief Operations Officer Qarbotech, for joining us. That's all we have time for today. Join us next week for more economic analysis and insights. I'm Tehmina Kaoosji, signing off for now.